Episode 54 was with Trevor of the band Moon Taxi.
As we continue to stay home, Adam was able to talk to Trevor on the phone. I've been a fan for a long time, and I absolutely love their new song, Hometown Heroes, so check it out.
And make sure to follow us on Facebook and YouTube at Bringing It Backwards, and on Instagram and Twitter at Bringing Back Pod.
Follow us, please.
We're Bringing It Backwards with Trevor of Moon Taxi.
Hey, Adam, what's happening?
Not too much. Thanks for doing this with us. We appreciate it.
Same. How are you guys?
Pretty good. Keeping quarantined. How about you?
Same. Doing lots of yard work, housework right now.
Yeah, actually, we did that. We've been doing that as well. It's like a blessing in disguise. Finally get the house cleaned up.
I know, I love it, but I'm running out of rooms to paint, so that's a bummer.
Yeah. Right on. Well, thanks again for doing this. I'm not sure if you know anything about our podcast. It's about your journey in music and how you formed Moon Taxi and where you are today.
Okay, love it.
Cool.
Great.
So you want to start off by telling us where you grew up? And
yeah, I have kind of a weird northern southern hybrid thing going on with me. I grew up in upstate New York, in Syracuse. And
okay.
Yeah, upstate, like real cold. I know what a snowdrift is, and it's awesome. Moved to the South for high school to Birmingham, Alabama, and met the bass player of Moon Taxi my first day there, and we started a band not too long after that.
Wow.
And yeah. So that's kind of what we'll get into Hometown Heroes, but that song was inspired by that relationship, that long lasting relationship. That was 20 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So we met in high school, had a high school band that was called Apex. It was a 3-piece. It was awesome.
Did you guys, did you just play locally? Like around your area and stuff? Yeah.
We were pretty bad. Yeah. I had a Marshall full stack. So it was like a 3-piece.
Oh, wow.
We were trying to do like a cream thing. Like we played Crossroads and we played all the old like bluesy stuff, but did it in a psychedelic way. And, really just started experimenting, playing together, writing some songs, but mainly playing covers. And no, we really didn't tour that much. We just kind of played locally. That was in Birmingham.
Okay.
And then we graduated high school and moved to Nashville to go to Belmont University. The first day there, we met Spencer Thomson, our guitarist and now producer. So we met him. He was playing guitar on the steps, and it was like the most cliche thing. Like, oh man, you sound good. You want to play music together? And like, I hate to say that's how it happened, but like literally that's how it happened. So
that's so
we
cool.
were, yeah. It kind of does work out like that sometimes, but
yeah,
I wish it was like a more interesting story, but like literally he was just playing guitar on the steps and he caught our ears and our eyes. And, so the first, project that we had as, a trio, we were the backing band for this rap group called Blaze of Knowledge. And that was our freshman year of college. So they were like these really hilarious rappers, these two rappers one was from Atlanta, one was from St. Louis. And so they wanted like a string section to play their tracks. So we offered our services, and Spencer was good friends with them. That was our first project together with Spencer. We ended up playing the Ryman Auditorium. I didn't even know like the significance of it at the time, but like I was, I think 18 years old playing in a rap band at the Ryman, which was kind of awesome.
Can you tell us about that? Yeah, that venue. I'm not familiar with it.
The Ryman is the original Opry house.
Oh wow!
So it's a historic. Yeah, it's an old church in downtown Nashville, and like a historic, very revered spot. So sorry, I should have explained that better.
No, it's okay. I was just curious.
Yeah. So like if you were to say that to like someone here in Nashville that was kind of in the know of that venue, they'd be like, what? You were in a rap band playing at the Ryman? Because it's just not that type of place. But
sure.
We found ourselves there. And so, yeah, we were kind of the backing band for the rap group, but we were also playing our own songs and toying around with the idea of starting a band.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got offered like an opening slot for a local show, and we had to come up with a name real quick. So we're like, fuck it, let's call it Moon Taxi, and the rest is history.
Yeah. How did you get Moon Taxi? That was just the first thing that came to mind?
Kind of. And yeah, I mean, we've made up countless stories when asked.
Sure.
You know, like one of them that's the current running one is that in the days before Uber, I tried to hail a taxi and the taxi would not stop. So I pulled my pants down and mooned them. That's like
that's a great story.
That's the go-to one. You know, another one that we say is I always wanted to be an astronaut, but I have bad eyesight. So this was my way of, you know, but I mean, in all honesty, we just thought it sounded cool. And
yeah,
at that time we were like, yeah, let's call it Moon Taxi.
That's cool.
But
how did you get into music originally? Like, so were you already playing instruments when you moved from New York, upstate New York, to Alabama?
Yeah, good question. I was in the symphonic band, so I started playing trumpet. And so I was in the band there and did pretty well.
Was that like in elementary school?
Yeah. I started playing in like fifth grade or so, and was just overcome by, you know, like I remember vividly my first concert and like being so nervous. And and I remember the feel of the trumpet, like, because it had been sitting in my mom's car and it was like cold as shit. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? You know, it's upstate New York, so it's freezing.
Yeah.
And, but I remember, you know, we did Beethoven's Fifth and it was like, bum, 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 bum. And I remember that feeling just being like overwhelmed and feeling like I was part of like something way bigger than just myself. And I think that's when I realized I really wanted to play music, but I didn't know like in what context and what setting.
Sure.
But so, yeah, I started playing the trumpet early on. And when I moved to Alabama, I thought that, you know, that wasn't very cool anymore. So I stopped playing in the band and picked up the guitar then and started, you know, trying to cover other people's music and then / write my own then.
So you were able to read music and stuff at that point? Cause you had been, if you moved in high school, so you had been playing trumpet for a few years then, right?
Yeah. I was pretty decent. And I could sight read. I never really learned that skill on guitar. Like I can't read music on guitar. So yeah, I learned via some Jimi Hendrix videos. Cause like I said, we were like a power trio. So that was my jam back then. So I would like just watch him and, you know, like really just listen. I never took formal guitar lessons. So it's really all by ear, but, first started, in the symphonic band. So we in Moon Taxi are big supporters of music education, and we do all we can to, you know, to promote that.
That's really cool. Yeah. A lot of people, I think's first, you know, taste of music comes back to just being in the elementary school band, or, you know, they give you
the band.
A handful of instruments you can choose from. Do you remember what drew you to the trumpet?
I wanted to play clarinet.
That's what I really wanted. Fifth grade. That's funny.
You played the clarinet? Nice.
I did. I only chose it because I had a friend that was a year older than me, and you couldn't be in the band till you're in fifth grade. And if you put your whole mouth over the mouthpiece and blew as hard as you can, it made this obnoxious sound. And I thought it was so funny, so I wanted to play
so loud
just to do that.
Yeah, I think like all the like hot girls in fifth grade played clarinet, and I just wanted to sit by them. And there were like 20 saxophonists, I remember. And I also think I really like the reed element. I wanted that. Like people sucking on the reed. I would like see them walking down the hallways like with their reeds in their mouth, and I was like, oh man, those are the cool clarinet players. But I didn't get to play it. My mom my mom kind of inserted herself into my musical destiny because she was like, the trumpet is more you. She thought personality wise, which is so true. And it absolutely is. You know, I'm boisterous, I'm compact. It's like, she was like, you should play the trumpet. And I excelled at it. So I'm really glad that she kind of steered me in that direction.
Yeah. Do your parents, do either of them play an instrument?
They do not. No, no.
Really?
But my grandmother was a choir teacher. So I think that that's where I get some of my musicality. And really random, but my uncle plays the lute and these old instruments. He used to play in, Renaissance festivals that they have in the summer.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So he was like one of the maritime, like the musician folks that go around and play these old instruments during those festivals. Yeah. So he would get dressed up in like their traditional garb.
Uh-huh.
And him and his common law wife, maybe my aunt played the lute, and he was like a recorder guy and like penny whistles. He did the wind instrument stuff, and she would accompany him, like playing old, like arrangements, like really old arrangements, like a few hundred years old.
Wow.
Yeah. So maybe that's where I get it from.
Did you ever get a chance to go to those Renaissance fairs when they're performing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because those are pretty big up there in the Northeast. I mean, they have them here in Nashville as well, but it's a big thing.
Yeah. I've seen.
Do they have them out where you are?
Yeah.
Where are you? Are you in LA?
We're in San Diego, so yeah, just south of LA.
They do have them though in the summer, the Renaissance Festival.
I've seen them up in like Brea and stuff. When you drive up to LA, I'll see them a little bit. But yeah. Remind me again how you got that first show, like as Moon Taxi, when you decided to go with Moon Taxi as the name.
We were like offered an opening spot for just some guys that we used to party with, and it wasn't a very it wasn't a very like serious thing that we thought about at the time, like because these guys that offered us the opening slot were just like some bros, and we were just like, we need a band name. So came up with Moon Taxi real quick. And we already had a few covers that we did and like a few originals from our high school days. So that was the start of it.
And was that, you had the full band at that point, or just the three of you guys?
We had the three of us and our original drummer, whose name is David Swan. And he was in the ROTC program. And he, went on to serve
during the military.
Yeah. So good on him. He had a different path. But he was our suite mate. So we met him early on. So it was just kind of a proximity thing. We were like, everyone we met, we were like, hey, do you want to join the band? And he was the first one, and great drummer. So that was our first formation of Moon Taxi. We were a 4-piece for a while. And then when David went off to the to serve, we picked up Tyler, who has been with us since. That would have been maybe like 2006 or so, 6 or 7, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then we kind of say that Moon Taxi actually formed when we added our keys player, which would have been about 2008, 2009, because like we had the project going, but we were still in college. Like we weren't super focused on writing. It was more of like not like a cover band, but we played a lot of covers, and we played a lot of just like college events.
Yeah.
So it didn't really feel like an original ensemble quite yet. So that's why in the press, we kind of just say that the band formed about 2008, 2009.
Okay. Because before then it was, it was just like a college.
It was like a hobby.
Like a fun thing to do while you're at school.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you remember what made you decide to go full force with it?
I think we always wanted it, and that's what drew each person to the others. Is like we all wanted it ourselves. And then as a collective whole, we thought that it might be able to work. So, like maybe in the back of our minds, we might have had like a backup plan, but I think we all wanted it. And then, we had milestones along the way. I don't want to skip too far in the future, but like our first late night debut, that was a huge milestone. Our first like big festival slot, that was a huge milestone. But like back in those early days, I think we were drawn to each other's musicality and like the promise of maybe we could write some better songs like one day. It wasn't really about the songwriting at that point. It was more about like learning your instrument and learning how to be with each other, like for long periods of time on the road and setting up shows, like carrying your own stuff in, trying to just mature on that level first before we got into songwriting too much.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Did you all finish college and then that's when you decided to carry on with the band, or you just at one point were like, we should just do this?
We all finished. We all graduated.
Oh, wow.
Spencer graduated first in like maybe 06, 07. And then our keys player is the youngest. He graduated in, I think, 09. So yeah, wow. For those few years, we were gigging a lot on the weekends. But we all had day jobs still. Maybe that was the turning point, is when we all quit our day jobs.
Yeah. Tell me about that. Do you remember that moment?
Yeah. I mean, I remember my last one was a cheesemonger. That was like my favorite last job.
Really?
I was at a formageria slinging cheese, and there was like a wine store right next door. So we would do like these events where we'd pair the wine and the cheese. It's pretty gluttonous, pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I had to let that go. Well, yeah, because we were touring on the weekends. We were playing too many shows. Yeah. And I had to let that one go. But maybe start it back up.
Yeah,
at some point.
So you said on the weekends you're doing some touring? Or would you just go around like play like weekends out, and then like how far would you guys go out?
We would do like the interstate here is I-65. So we would go like a little north of I-65 and we'd go a little south of I-65. But, pretty much playing in the respective towns that we were from. Like Tommy and I still had some friends in Birmingham, so we would go south to play in Alabama. And then Spencer's from Kentucky, so we would go north and play in Kentucky. And it was just real southeastern regional at that point.
Okay.
And I forgot to mention, here's a big milestone: buying the first band vehicle.
Oh yeah,
huge stepping stone to professionalism. Up until then, we were just driving our own personal cars. Like I had my Subaru, just completely wrecked by like trying to shove amps in it. Like that first band vehicle was big time for us.
And did you guys just pull your money together and decide?
We did. We did. We were like, we need a camper van. So we bought one. Her name was Barbara. And she was great. She served us well.
She did. Yeah. How'd you get the name?
Barbara was this woman that offered us a place to stay in New York City. Our first time playing Kenny's Castaway in New York City. And there's this woman that came out, and she was probably like mid-50s, maybe mid-60s. I couldn't tell, but she wanted us to come over to her house. She was going to make us sandwiches. Her name was Barbara. She was like blackout drunk, this old Jewish woman in New York. And the name stuck. So that's what we named the van after her.
That's hilarious. That's amazing. That's so funny. So tell me about recording your guys' first record.
Well, we had one album that we kind of don't talk about too much because it was in that era when before our keys player joined the band. It was like in the 2007 era when we were still all in college.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was technically our first album, but we kind of scrubbed it from the internet, so you can't find it anymore.
Okay.
that one was called Melodica. That came out in like 2007, but didn't have the keys player. And also it was more about like the musicianship rather than the songwriting. You know, it was kind of just like gratuitous prog rock a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
we were trying to find our sound still, and
sure,
and we didn't feel like the band was fully formed at that point. So yeah, I mean, those first 3 years were when after the keys player joined, that was all about touring. It was all about honing our craft, and we were writing songs, but writing just lots of them and throwing lots of them away. So our first like official album came out in 2012, and that was called Cabaret. And we did a lot of the recording in home studios and kind of figured out that was the economical way to do it and the most comfortable way to do it. So Spencer set up a studio at his house, and we just kind of learned that process on our own.
Wow. So you guys tracked the whole record yourselves and recorded it yourselves?
We did like 90% of it. We would like track everything to drum loops, and then at the very end come in and have get like one studio day at like a real studio, and then just knock out all the drums in one day. So we did as much as we could on our own, and then just kind of polished it off there at the end.
You had Modest Yahoo on that record, didn't you?
Yeah.
How'd you guys get him?
Well, our manager also managed him at that time, like the kind of 2010s to 2000. I think that came out in 2012. So in that era, and we opened up for him on a long summer tour around then,
cool.
And just got to be friends with him. And
yeah,
he actually did that sit-in at a Hangout Fest mobile recording studio, because we were both on the festival that year. There's this mobile recording studio. I don't know if it's around still, but it's called the John Lennon Studio, and it's like a camper van that's been retrofitted to turn into a studio.
Wow, I haven't heard about that. That's crazy.
That's how we still make records now, is we do the majority of them just sitting at a computer with a few guys together, kind of creating the tracks we use Logic, but just like sitting really at a computer, as opposed to like sitting around a practice space with everyone at their respective instruments. We just kind of create the track as we write it.
And are you guys in the same room together? Or you like, if you have an idea, do you send it to email it over to the other guys? Or
yeah, sometimes it happens that way. Sometimes we'll just kind of set a date, and then the kind of three primary songwriters are the Spencer, who's the producer, the keys player Wes, and myself. So we'll just meet up at Spencer's house. He lives north in Nashville, and we'll sit at his studio and try to knock out a track, or try to just chip away at it.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
And yeah, and then we kind of get the tracks as finished as they can be, and then at the very end we'll still like get a few days in the studio and knock out the drums real quick.
Mm-hmm. Nice. When you guys put out Cabaret, were you guys signed to a label yet?
No. I'm pretty sure that one was put out by our own label that we created, just to kind of make it a little bit more legitimate of a enterprise, which is called 12 South Records, which we still have.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, that was before we started working with BMG on the publishing side. So that was really like a DIY project, kind of top to bottom.
Wow. And you guys were getting, I mean, at that point you said you had played Hangout Festival and toured with Modest Yahoo. Like, how did that all kind of
come live
together?
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a booking agent way before we had a label. So that just shows you the emphasis on the live show back then. It was all about shredding live, trying to play as fast and impressively as we could for people, and playing lots of shows. Back then, I think we did at least over 150 shows a year, maybe closer to 200. Like, we were on the road a lot. Yeah.
Wow.
So just cutting our chops and figuring out what it was that we wanted to do and how we wanted to portray ourselves. I wouldn't say we were a studio band back then or really even focused on the songwriting. It was really just about, like a party. Yeah. Like a live party. Exactly.
You said one of the milestones for you guys was, getting a slot on a big festival. Was the Hangout Festival, was that the first festival you guys had a chance to play? Was that that moment?
That was a big one. We had been playing down at the location that they have Hangout for a while because they have like a small venue there. So when the Hangout Fest started, it felt really cool. But like the big one for us was Bonnaroo, because it's right close to us here in Nashville, and it was the
massive festival.
Massive, yeah, big outdoor festival in a field, and we got to play that for the first time in 2012. So it was like around the same time as Cabaret came out, and that slot was a milestone for us because it was like a Thursday night at like 7:30 p.m. Everyone's just getting to the festival. They're fresh. They're not worn out yet. They're ready to go. It was that was a big one for us, and I don't think we would be where we are now if it wasn't for that slot. Like, it literally felt like it was a career making show for us.
How did you guys get on Bonnaroo?
So we, like I said, we had our booking agent way before the label. So that was just something that back then we were with William Morris. They gave us an opportunity, and we really kind of came through, and it was just a combination of that. And we had been touring lots in the Southeast. So people knew our name, and they're like, oh, I want to see them play on the big stage at Bonnaroo, see like if they can deliver.
Yeah.
So felt like a few things coming together and just really worked out for us.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was great.
Do you remember who was the big headliners that year off the top of your head?
Oh man. I think, no, not Kendrick was the second year. Kendrick was the 2015 we came back to Bonnaroo, and he was there.
Oh, cool.
The first year, maybe Radiohead.
Oh, let me see. Oh,
I
yeah,
can't
actually, yeah, I think I just found it. Radiohead and Chili Peppers and Fish. Does that sound familiar?
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so rad. I mean, geez.
So are you looking at the original, the lineup?
I think I just found it, yeah.
We are the bottom right. We're the furthest band down in the bottom. Look at the right-hand corner.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But it's pretty cool because your eye does like a circle around it. Like sometimes you want to go down and see like the very last band. That was us.
Yeah. Well, it's if you see like the O2 Coachella poster, the Killers are the first band. So
awesome. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts to see. So yeah, you guys will be much higher up now. So that's rad that you're. I mean, I bet just seeing your name on that poster was pretty wild.
It validating. Yeah.
Wow. From Cabaret, you put out Mountains, Beaches, and Cities. Was that the next record?
Yeah, and that was our first venture with BMG as a co-publisher on that record. Okay. And that record, we got to play late night. We played Letterman before he went off the air, and the last season was awesome.
Oh my gosh.
And I feel like we did another late night on that record. I can't remember, but I distinctly remember calling my dad up and saying, hey, we're playing Letterman. And that was like a huge milestone in my life. It's like, it felt so validating to be like, we're going to do this, where, he couldn't believe it. It was a wonderful moment for me.
Like you said, it validated it, but him saying, oh, my son's in a band. Yeah, my son's in a band. He's playing on Letterman. I think that's just such it's like a whole other level. Yeah. Tell me about that. Was that, because you're playing live on TV, right?
Yeah. We at that point we didn't have any like tracks. We didn't have any click. I mean, now like we're all on ears, so it's like it feels like muscle memory. Like you just kind of do it. There's no deviation at all. Mm-hmm. But like back then, it was like kind of crazy. It was like just guitar, bass, drums, keys. It was like it felt no tracks at all. It was awesome. We had a great time playing it.
Playing like that would that be more nerve-wracking than playing like a Bonnaroo stage to thousands of people?
Yeah, you're not really vibing off anybody. You're just, there is a studio audience, but it's different than a festival setting. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would much prefer the Bonnaroos to the TV performances, but both are awesome.
Yeah, that's still so cool that you guys got to do that.
Yeah. So we did that on mountains, beaches, cities. I'm trying to think of the other big milestones. Oh, we started getting some awesome syncs, like music placements.
Oh yeah,
which we had never really kind of experienced before. We hadn't had that on Cabaret. So like we got a song in like a BMW commercial. We thought it was pretty cool just to see our music played in that setting.
Yeah.
And we got a few other like smaller ones in TV shows, but you know what? I think we did get one on Cabaret on that Modest Yahoo track, which is called Square Circles. So we had a little bit of experience with sync licensing, but it really kind of took off with that second record, Mountains, Beaches, Cities.
And how did you guys get connected with BMG? Was that all management or something?
Yeah. I think like we had kind of mutual professional friends that turned us on to those folks, and our sync license person back then, Jill Padone, she was really instrumental in kind of making those connections happen. And she was actually working for BMG back then, I think. So, it's just the music industry is like everyone knows each other. So I just try to keep my details straight. It's like, it's a little foggy for me at this juncture, but, that album came out, not long after Cabaret. I think it actually came out, the year after 2013 or 2014. But yeah, got to play late night, and then we toured, like we always do. So it does come back to the live show because that's how we started playing, and we feel comfortable in that scenario.
And at this point, were you guys getting bigger? Were you opening for bigger bands? Were you guys headlining tours at this point? Okay.
Both, really. Yeah. We got to open up for like My Morning Jacket here in Nashville, which was awesome.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Really, really fun show. So some other bigger bands, and festival settings as well. And then also doing our own club dates that were, starting to steadily increase in size.
Yeah. And then from 2013, then you guys put out Daybreaker, right? That was the next record,
which was 2015, right? I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, which that was, more the same, bigger shows, a few better syncs. We got a song in a McDonald's commercial, which was amazing.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah, it's when they started to do the all day breakfast.
Oh yeah, they finally started doing 24-hour breakfast.
Yep. So we have a song called All Day All Night, and one big milestone in my life was seeing. So like in the commercial, there's like two pancakes that like hit each other at the same time, and there's a cymbal hit that syncs up with that. So that was a big moment. Calling my dad and telling him, the late night show is going to happen. That was a big moment. But seeing those pancakes hit at just the right moment was also a big milestone for me.
That's cool. Shoot, to be featured in a McDonald's commercial. I mean, it
kind of makes sense, all day breakfast. The song's called All Day All Night.
Yeah, it totally works.
There's like, there wasn't any talking over it too. So it was kind of just focused on the music. But yeah, with Daybreaker, it was kind of more the same, like bigger festival slots, more shows. We got lucky to have some of our music placed. We did on that record work with an outside producer, Jakir King, which was a fun experience. Definitely different from how we had been recording. So we did a little bit more live.
Okay, because before you, your keys player was producing the records, right?
Our guitarist.
Oh, guitar
Spencer.
player. Sorry, Spencer. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so Spencer is producing.
Yep.
He produced those first albums, and then on Daybreaker was the first time you worked with somebody else.
Yeah, who's Jakir King is a Nashville legend. Worked with the Kings of Leon and worked with Nora Jones and worked with James Bay. I mean, he's got a huge list. Very impressive. Anyway, so yeah, we worked with him on Daybreaker, which was a fun experience.
How is that different than working with just you guys together? Was he able to give you different like inspiration or help you come up with the songs differently?
The thing I liked or that I loved working with Jakir is he really took time to dial in tones, you know, like really think about the guitar tone. Like don't just kind of go for it and let it rip. Like think how it's going to complement like the bass or how it's going to fit in that sonic space, which we still apply that kind of that thought process even to our records now. But it was great. But I mean, we have 5 kind of very opinionated people already. So adding another one into that is probably not, you know, what we needed, but it was a great experience. And I think we learned a lot from it. And Spencer, who's our producer, and guitarist, he learned a ton, and he still kind of works with Jakir on the side a little bit.
Oh, that's cool.
Just on various other projects. So it was a learning experience for everyone, but I would say for him more than anybody else.
Sure. And from there was Let the Record Play, which was, I know, a massive record for you guys. Too High. That song was all over the radio.
It was a good one for us. Yeah. That was 2017 that came out. And we went back to working with just Spencer then. So we had the majority of the songs written on that before we ever signed with RCA.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that was in this interim period where we had parted ways with BMG, and we were kind of just planning on putting the record out on our own. And we did put out Too High on our own, and then it just absolutely blew up on Spotify. It started getting like 500,000 streams a day. And,
wow.
You know, if that happens, people are going to come calling, and pretty much every single major label wanted to sign us. And we just ended up going with RCA, which was fine. It was cool to say, like, we have, you know, we signed with a major label, but you know, at that point we were like, oh yeah, this will be our lives making records with RCA for the next 10 years, but that didn't end up happening.
Did you guys choose, was there a specific reason why you chose RCA? Like, were you meeting with other majors at that time?
Yeah, we really liked the other rock bands in particular that they had on their roster at the time, like the Walk the Moons, the Kings of Leons, that type of the Cage the Elephants. We really liked those bands and like their trajectory and their career path. So that's what drew us to RCA. But the songs were already written, so like we didn't have any sort of influence on the A&R side. Like we were pretty much just like handing them a record that was already done.
Wow. So you had it already recorded and everything at that point?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're just, you just basically said, here's the album. Can you
here's the album? And they're like, here's some money. So
yeah.
Okay.
Wow. What was the big milestone from that record? Just the success of Too High and picking up RCA?
Yeah, the signing with the major was cool. The radio element was cool because we got to number one at AAA and like pretty high up in the alt world. And, you know, getting to know some of these people and like going and playing like radio events and playing their Christmas shows and their summer shows. Like that was our first experience in that whole world of like the politics of radio. We didn't realize that was something that happened.
Yeah.
Like, so I'd say that was a big thing that we didn't realize, the whole world of radio, and, you know, getting into it on your fourth album is interesting. Like, cause we already had our like homegrown fan base, and it's just amazing what a big song at radio can do. Like, you know, just augment everything like tremendously and very quickly too.
Yeah. When you were getting the airplay and stuff, were you able, when you were touring, were you seeing the crowds get larger and stuff?
Yeah, we were. It was weird. It was like there were people there to see you play too high, and so we would always just wait and play it last so they wouldn't leave.
Yeah. That must be kind of I've never I wouldn't think about that, but like, so you already had 4 albums out, and typically bands would play like, you know, the hit from the first record last, but you guys were doing that on that most recent album. Was that kind of weird to restructure your playlist?
No. I mean, it's just something you deal with. You just like kind of write the set list accordingly. And I do remember one time we were playing a festival in the south of Sweden called Scroll Fest, and we played too high, like in the middle of the set, and it was the highlight. But then everyone left, and our bass player got so upset. He was like, "I told you guys we have to play too high last, always."
That's funny.
Yeah, that changed a lot. I mean, it brought us around the world. We had never gone on tour in Europe before that album.
Oh, really? So you were just doing all the states before?
All the states.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell me about traveling for the first time to play. What was that experience like?
It was great. I mean, it was kind of bringing it back to our foundational days of just playing small clubs, and, you know, it being very, very loud inside, and more of a DIY, like drive yourself to the venues. You know, we're not in a bus over there in Europe.
Oh, you weren't?
Kind of no, we were back to the van.
Were you headlining the tour, or were you guys playing with somebody else that had been out there before? Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, we were doing it all ourselves, that was a fun experience.
Was that, had you personally ever been out of the country before? Yeah, never to
like Scandinavia and Germany.
Yeah.
I'd really only been to Spain in Europe, so it was a lot of fun. So yeah, we toured through Europe, and then we did a UK show, but I mean, none of that would have happened without Too High. So it was great, life-changing song, and it still gets that huge reaction, and we do play it last now at shows.
It's been a few years now.
Yeah, it has. Yeah. But excited about this new one.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So now we're at the new one. It's going to be called Silver Dream.
Silver Dream. Yes.
And you've released the first song, Hometown Heroes. That's the only track you've put out so far yet, right? That's correct.
Single. Yep, Hometown Heroes.
Tell us about Hometown Heroes. Well,
it's really about Tommy and I and the band and everyone together. I mean, it's kind of about a long-lasting friendship and your memories of the past that sometimes are faded and are like a little more glorious in your memory than they might have been in reality, and kind of dealing with that discrepancy of was it as good as you thought it was, or are you just kind of inflating it in your memory of it? I mean, even if you are, that there's some beauty in that.
Yeah.
We had talked about kind of throwing some references in from like our our high school days of hotboxing cars and playing it,
Yeah.
playing N64 video games all night. But we kind of took it a different route and made the lyric lines a little bit more like universal. So we just kind of want people to hear it and insert their own nostalgic memories into the song.
Mm-hmm. That's great. And so is the whole, I don't know how detail you can get on the new album. Do you guys, is it ready to go? Like, where are you guys at with the new record?
It is done. Spencer Spencer produced it.
Okay.
So we, keeping it close to home. We recorded it here in Nashville and also out in Los Angeles where we did some of the writing.
Okay.
And yeah, Silver Dream will come out sometime this year. We had a whole plan in place, but you just, you have to shift. You got to be a little bit malleable with your plans. So it's to be announced when the release date is. But right now we're just kind of focusing on Hometown Heroes. We really have, we played it live actually a few times before everything kind of stopped.
Oh, wow.
The world shut down. Yeah. We had a few shows early this year, and Hometown Heroes felt great live. So that's always been the test for us, is if we can move people in like a live setting and if it feels good to us, it's not forced. So
yeah,
it's good. I'm excited about it.
That's really cool. I know it's so unfortunate, like with obviously the whole world shutting down, like you just said. You guys probably had a tour planned and the record, and it's all gonna get pushed back
all
a
that.
little bit. Yeah. It's too bad.
Yeah. You just have to shift, and but it's cool to, like, I did a Facebook Live video and got to play it for our fans over the internet, which is unique.
That's really cool. Yeah, make things work, and with what you have available to you. So that's what we're trying to do at this point. Yeah. Do you have any more? Are you guys going to do any more of those? Are you personally going to do any more of those, like Instagram live videos or Facebook Live? I love seeing that. Like,
do you think it's weird seeing people's like homes? Like, you see where does it kill the mystery?
I love that. Yeah, no, that's funny, because it's almost like it's more personal, but it's not. It's kind of weird. Yeah. Like, we've been doing a lot of our interviews. We've been getting a lot of interviews because people are at home, but we'll do them over Zoom. Or what's really cool is if we did one, if we were video Zooming, like, you're just talking to the person and they're in their, own environment. And it's kind of cool to see that. It's like a look behind the curtain a little bit.
Look behind the curtain, and like they're comfortable because they're in their own setting, their own like personal space. So
sure.
And I can foresee us doing those, as many of those coming up. So that's really where we're at right now.
And do you guys all live kind of close by, or are you different?
Yeah, we're in the Nashville area. In different parts of the city, but yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you have any advice for aspiring artists?
Ooh, for me, we will always go back to that live setting and trying to one up each other musically. It's like, it's a little competitive, but it keeps us on our toes. So, I would say if you're an aspiring musician, try to find those people that challenge you, because I've definitely done that in my life, and it's been for the better. Like, they make me better at what I do. So try to surround yourself with people that are challenging and that you can write songs with. And I would also say try to write as many songs as possible, because some of them are going to be pretty bad. And, you might write a good one here and there, and try to do that as much as you can. Go out and play live shows, experience what that is like, because if you don't like it, then I don't know, that might not be your thing. Enya never played a live show, and I love her jams.
I didn't know that.
And she sold like millions of records.
Oh yeah, that was always on like late night TV. They'd be playing commercials for her records.
Yeah. No, she never played a live show. She just made these
Wow.
incredible albums. So, you know, if you're going to take the Enya route, then go for it. But I think for us, I'm glad I have the experiences of spending time in the Barbara van and, you know, getting to know these guys and trying to write good songs, writing some decent ones, writing some bad ones. I've enjoyed kind of every step of it. So I would say just figure out which way you want to go. If you want to be a studio person and do that, then start recording some songs. You know, it's real easy with technology now to make something incredible. You know, for us, we didn't have to spend a ton of money to go into a studio to write and create. Like, we really just did it sitting at a computer with a few guys hanging out. So it's out there if you want it. You just got to go get it.